Commander Vextal stood before the massive viewing screen in his ship's control room. The blue and green planet called Earth floated silently in the darkness of space. For 3 long months, the world had been completely quiet. No radio signals, no television broadcasts, no internet chatter, nothing. "Tell me again about the silence," Vextal said to his communications officer, a thin alien with 6 arms and silver skin. The officer checked his instruments. "Commander, 3 months ago, the humans were sending thousands of signals every second. News reports, entertainment shows, military communications, civilian messages. Then suddenly, everything stopped. The last message we caught was about problems with their supply chains." Dr. Yulanara walked over to join them. She was the ship's expert on alien life forms. Her blue tentacles moved nervously as she spoke. "Maybe their civilization collapsed, Commander. Their technology was very basic. They barely had nuclear power. They couldn't even travel between planets properly." Tactical Officer Mordic, a large creature covered in dark scales, nodded his massive head. "Or they killed themselves. Their old transmissions showed they loved war, always fighting over land, resources, beliefs. Maybe they finally destroyed everything." Vextal thought about this. In his long career exploring the galaxy, he had seen many species destroy themselves. It was sad but common. Young civilizations often failed before they could join the galactic community. "We'll send 3 scout ships to investigate," Vextal decided. "If any humans survived, we'll help them. They can live in our outer colonies and learn from us. We'll teach them how to be civilized." The other officers agreed. This was standard procedure. When a primitive species failed, the Galactic Council would rescue the survivors and give them new homes. The survivors would work for more advanced species and slowly learn better ways to live. "Prepare the ships," Vextal ordered. "We leave in 1 hour." The alien fleet powered up their faster-than-light engines. Vextal felt confident. As they jumped into hyperspace, they were going to help another failed species. It was routine work, but far below the surface of Earth, in a secret bunker deep under Sol. Something very different was happening. Dr. Jiho Park sat in front of dozens of computer screens. Each screen showed different information about space around Earth. These were not ordinary computers. They used technology that did not exist 4 months ago. "Admiro Minyu King," Dr. Park called out. "I'm detecting 3 ships approaching our solar system. They match the profiles we've been expecting." Admiral Kim walked over to look at the displays. He was a tall man with gray hair and sharp eyes. On his uniform were symbols that showed his high rank in Earth's military forces. "Excellent work," Dr. Admiral Kim said calmly. "Are they following the same patterns as the scout ships we detected last year?" "Yes, sir. Same engine signatures, same approach vector, same scanning frequencies. They think we don't know they're coming." Admiral Kim smiled, but it was not a happy smile. It was the smile of a hunter who had been waiting patiently for prey. "Signal all defense stations," Admiral Kim ordered. "Tell them Operation Silent Thunder is now active. It's time to show our visitors what human silence really means." Around the bunker, other officers began working quickly. They sent coded messages to secret bases around the world. These messages went to hidden facilities in every major country. America, China, Russia, Europe, Japan, India, all working together for the first time in human history. That the messages traveled through quantum communication systems that the aliens could not detect. These systems used principles that human scientists had learned by studying alien technology in secret for 3 years. Dr. Park looked at a special screen that showed the alien ships getting closer. "Admiral, their ships are exactly like the ones in our computer models. Our surprise attack plans should work perfectly." "Good," Admiral Kim replied. "How long until they reach Earth?" 6 hours, sir." Admiral Kim walked to a large map on the wall. It showed not just Earth, but the entire solar system. Red dots marked the positions of human ships that were completely invisible to alien sensors. Blue lines showed the paths that alien scouts would take. 6 hours, Admiral Kim said quietly. "For 3 months, the galaxy has heard nothing from Earth. They think we're dead or dying. They think they're coming to rescue primitives or collect our bodies." He turned to face his officers. "They're about to learn that when humans go silent, it doesn't mean we've given up. It means we're getting ready." Dr. Park checked his instruments again. "Sir, all stations report ready. Our stealth ships are in position. Our new weapons are charged. Our boarding teams are prepared. And our prisoners from the first scout ship?" Admiral Kim asked. "Still alive and healthy, sir. They've been very helpful in teaching us about alien technology and tactics." Admiral Kim nodded. For months, world leaders had argued about what to do when more aliens came. Some wanted to surrender immediately, others wanted to fight to the death. But Admiral Kim had convinced them to try a third option. Remember, Admiral Kim told his team, "We're not trying to destroy them, we're trying to teach them a lesson. Humans are not victims, we're not primitives, and we're definitely not extinct." The countdown began. In 6 hours, the aliens would learn that Earth's silence had been the most dangerous sound in the galaxy. Alien scout ship Dominion's Edge suddenly appeared at the edge of Earth's solar system. The ship's engines glowed as it slowed down from faster-than-light travel. Captain Vextel stood on the bridge, looking at the screens that showed the quiet planet ahead. "Begin scanning for signs of life," Vextel ordered. "I want to know if any humans survived whatever happened here." His crew worked at their stations, running their sensors across the third planet. Vextel expected to see broken cities, dead satellites, or maybe a few primitive rockets if the humans were still alive but struggling. "Sir," called out Navigator Lanara, "I'm not detecting any." Suddenly, every alarm on the ship began screaming. Red lights flashed everywhere. The crew looked around in panic as their instruments went crazy. "What's happening?" Vextel shouted over the noise. "Sir, something just appeared right in front of us." Yulanara's voice was full of fear. It came out of nowhere. On the main screen, a massive shape became visible. It had been completely invisible just seconds before. The ship was huge, bigger than anything in the alien fleet. It was dark gray and had sharp angles that made it look like a weapon itself. Along its sides, Vextel could see gun ports and missile tubes. "Impossible," Yulanara whispered. "That ship is larger than our biggest warships. How did the humans build something like that?" Before anyone could answer, all the lights on the alien ship went out. The engines stopped working. The weapons systems shut down. Even their communications equipment went dead. "We're completely powerless," reported the ship's engineer, his voice shaking. "Everything is offline. We can't move, we can't fight, we can't even call for help." Then a voice came through their speakers. It spoke in perfect galactic standard, the language used by all advanced civilizations. "This is Captain Seojin Lee of the Earth Defense Force vessel Quiet Storm. You are now prisoners of war. Do not try to resist. Prepare to be boarded." Vextel could not believe what he was hearing. "How do they know our language?" he asked his crew. "How do they have technology that can disable our ships so easily?" Nobody had an answer. On the human ship Quiet Storm, Captain Lee stood in the command center watching her crew prepare for the boarding operation. She was a small woman with short black hair and cold eyes. Her uniform was dark blue with silver rank symbols. "Status report," Captain Lee ordered. Lieutenant Ji-won Choi, her tactical officer, looked up from her instruments. "Ma'am, their ship is completely disabled. Their weapons use plasma containment technology. Our electromagnetic pulse systems shut them down perfectly." "What about their personal equipment?" Captain Lee asked. "Sergeant Hyun-woo Nam tested their armor and weapons on the prisoners we captured last month," Lieutenant Choi replied. "Their armor is strong against energy weapons, but weak against regular bullets. Their personal weapons are also easy to disable." Captain Lee nodded. "Good, send in the boarding teams. I want all aliens captured alive and unharmed. We need them." For questioning, 20 human Marines moved quickly through the connecting tunnel between the two ships. They wore black armor and carried weapons that looked different from anything the aliens had seen before. Each Marine knew exactly where to go and what to do. The aliens tried to fight back, but it was useless. Their plasma rifles would not work. Their energy shields were dead. Their communication devices were silent. The humans moved through the alien ship like they had been there many times before. Within 10 minutes, every alien on the ship was captured. They were not hurt, but they were scared and confused. Human soldiers put restraints on their arms and legs, then brought them to a holding area gapped. Captain Vextel found himself sitting in a small room with his hands tied behind his back. Across from him sat Captain Lee. She looked calm and confident. "I don't understand," Vextel said in broken galactic standard. "How do you know our language? How do you have ships like this? Your species was primitive. You didn't even have faster-than-light travel." Captain Lee smiled, but it was not a friendly smile. "You're right. 4 months ago, we didn't have ships like this. 4 months ago, we couldn't travel between stars. Then how we've been listening to your communications for 3 years." Captain Lee interrupted. "Every message your people sent, we recorded every technical discussion, every military report, every casual conversation. We learned your language, your technology, your tactics." Vextel's eyes went wide. "That's impossible. You don't have The technology to intercept our communications, we didn't 3 years ago, Captain Lee agreed, but we learned quickly. Your first scout ship that visited our system, we captured it. Your crew taught us many interesting things about alien technology. The missing scout ship from Sector 7, Vextor whispered. We thought it was destroyed by an asteroid. No, it was captured by humans who were much smarter than you expected, Captain Lee said. Did you really think we would just sit quietly while you decided our fate? Did you think we would wait for you to come and put us in your colonies as slaves? Vextor realized the terrible truth. The humans had not gone silent because they were dying. They had gone silent because they were preparing for war. Dr. Sun Hae-yoon sat in a small white room across from the alien commander. She was a short woman, with long black hair tied back in a simple ponytail. Her eyes were sharp and intelligent. Between them was a metal table with nothing on it except a small device that glowed softly. The alien commander, Vextor, looked very different from humans. His skin was gray and rough like stone. Instead of a regular mouth, he had 4 moving parts that clicked together when he talked. His eyes were large and yellow, and they kept moving around the room nervously. You want to know how we learned your language so fast, Dr. Yoon said. It was not a question. She already knew what he was thinking. Vextor's mouth parts clicked together quickly. This was a sign that he was worried. Your people were listed as pre-contact species. You had no ships that could travel between stars. You were primitive. Dr. Yoon touched the glowing device on the table. Suddenly, the air above it filled with pictures made of light. The pictures showed a timeline with dates and events. Let me show you something interesting, Dr. Yoon said calmly. 3 years ago, our deep space listening stations detected your survey probes. These are unmanned ships that you send to watch other planets, right? Vextor nodded slowly. From that moment, we started intercepting every communication signal you sent, every message between your ships, every report back to your home worlds, every casual conversation between crew members. The light pictures showed thousands of alien messages that humans had recorded. We have teams of the smartest people on Earth working day and night to decode your languages. We learned not just Galactic Standard, but 17 other alien languages. We studied your technology, your culture, your military tactics. Vextor stared at the pictures floating in the air. But how did you understand our technology so quickly? It should take hundreds of years. Double quotes. Dr. Yoon smiled. The moment we realized we were not alone in the universe. Every country on Earth did something that had never happened before in our history. We all worked together. That's impossible, Vextor said. Your old transmissions showed constant wars between your nations. You're right. For thousands of years, humans fought each other over land, resources, beliefs, everything. But when we discovered aliens were watching us, something changed. Every leader on Earth realized that our survival depended on cooperation. The door opened and another human entered. This was Admiral Dong-ho Lim, a tall man with gray hair and many medals. On his uniform, he walked with confidence and authority. Commander Vextor, Admiral Lim said in perfect Galactic Standard. While your people were writing reports about us being primitive, we were busy learning everything we could about your technology. He gestured to Dr. Yoon, who changed the light. Pictures now, they showed alien ships and technical diagrams. Your survey probes taught us about quantum field manipulation. That's how we learned to make our ships invisible to your sensors. Your cargo ship transmissions contained navigation data that taught us how to travel faster than light. Vextor's eyes grew even wider. The supply chain disruptions we heard about in your last transmissions were fake news stories. Dr. Yoon finished his sentence. While our television and internet reported economic problems, something very different was happening. Every major factory on Earth was secretly being changed to make parts for our new space fleet. Admiral Lim touched the device and new pictures appeared. These showed hundreds of human ships, all sleek and powerful looking. We built this entire fleet in just 90 days, Admiral Lim said proudly. According to your own intelligence reports, most alien species take hundreds or thousands of years to develop space travel technology. That's normal, Vextor said weakly. Civilization develops slowly. It takes time to learn, to grow, to advance. Maybe, for other species, Dr. Yoon said, but humans are different. When we're threatened, we adapt very quickly. When we're motivated, we can accomplish incredible things in very short time. Admiral Lim sat down at the table. Let me tell you what really happened, Commander. 3 years ago, we were a divided planet with primitive technology. But in 3 years, we learned your languages, reverse-engineered your technology, built a space fleet, and planned a military strategy that defeated you easily. Your silence. double quotes, Vextor whispered, was not a sign of weakness or failure, Dr. Yoon explained. It was preparation. We stopped broadcasting because we didn't want you to know what we were doing. Every day you heard nothing from Earth. We were getting stronger, smarter, more dangerous. Vextor looked at the pictures of human ships floating in the air. How many ships do you have? Enough, Admiral Lim replied. But that's not the most important thing. The most important thing is that we know everything about your people now. Your technology, your tactics, your weaknesses. We studied every battle your people ever fought, Dr. Yoon added. We know how you think, how you fight, how you can be defeated. What do you want from us? Vextor asked quietly. Admiral Lim and Dr. Yoon looked at each other. We want you to take a message back to your people, Dr. Yoon said. Tell them that humans are not primitive. We're not weak, and we're definitely not going to be anyone's slaves. The great meeting hall of the Galactic Council was filled with noise and panic. Aliens from dozens of different worlds were talking loudly, arguing, and demanding answers. At the front of the room, High Counselor Zeftak, a tall creature with purple skin and 3 eyes, banged his golden staff on the floor repeatedly. Order, order. Zeftak shouted. We must have order. But the chaos continued. Reports were coming in from all across the galaxy, and each one brought worse news. The military coordinator, a large alien covered in metal plates, stood up to speak. His voice was deep and serious. 17 communication relay stations have been destroyed at exactly the same time. The supply depot at Kepler 442 is completely disabled. All ships trying to use the Centauri trade routes are being stopped by unknown vessels. Counselor Milana, who looked like a giant insect with 6 arms, waved her hands in confusion. How is this possible? The humans have only been traveling in space for less than 6 months. They were primitive just a few months ago. Other counselors began shouting questions. Who authorized contact with the humans? Why weren't we prepared for this? How did they get so advanced so quickly? Suddenly, the main display screen at the front of the room lit up. The image showed a human in a military uniform standing in what looked like a spaceship command center. Behind him, several alien officers stood with their hands tied. They looked unhappy but unharmed. Honorable counselors of the Galactic Council, the human said. His voice was calm and polite, but somehow threatening at the same time. I am Admiral Kungmin Oh of the Earth Defense Force. Admiral Oh was a middle-aged man with short gray hair and sharp eyes. He wore a dark blue uniform with many medals and rank symbols. Despite being surrounded by advanced alien technology, he looked completely comfortable and confident. Earth hereby formally rejects your terms of integration and subjugation, Admiral Oh, announced. High Counselor Zeftak's 3 eyes narrowed angrily. You cannot reject what has not been offered, human. Your species will submit to Galactic Council authority now, and you will be granted colonial status. This is generous treatment for such a primitive species. Admiral O's expression did not change. He remained calm and polite. We have intercepted and decoded your standard protocols for dealing with what you call primitive species, forced relocation of populations, genetic modification programs, complete cultural erasure, and permanent servitude. Our answer to all of this is no. The counselors looked shocked. Counselor Milana spoke up again. You intercepted our classified protocols. That's impossible. A younger human woman stepped forward to stand beside Admiral O. She wore the same style uniform but with different rank symbols. Counselors, I am Captain Youngji Shin. While you were having meetings to decide our fate, we were working. We mapped every important system in your territory, every communication hub, every supply depot, every military base. Your own broadcast transmissions gave us all the locations. That cannot be true, Counselor Milana said, but her voice sounded worried. You have been transmitting openly across the galaxy for thousands of years, Admiral O continued. We analyzed 50 years of your communications in just 3 months. We know your trade routes, your military tactics, your political problems, even your personal secrets. The display screen changed to show a map of the galaxy. Red dots marked important alien facilities. Blue lines showed trade routes. Green triangles showed where human ships were positioned. The counselors stared at the map in horror. Human forces were positioned at key points throughout their territory. Every major communication center, every important supply depot, every critical trade route was either attacked or blocked. This is impossible, whispered one of the counselors. How did you move so many ships so quickly? Captain Shin answered. While your scout ships were traveling slowly to Earth, we were building a fleet and learning about your technology. Used your own hyperspace routes to position our forces before you even knew we existed. High Counselor Zeftak tried to regain control of the situation. Humans, you are making a terrible mistake. The Galactic Council has existed for 10,000 years. We have defeated species far more advanced than you. Surrender now and we will be merciful. Admiral O shook his head. Counselor, we studied your history. We know about the 17 species you uplifted in the last 1,000 years. We know what happened to their cultures, their freedom, their people. We will not become number 18. Then you choose war, Zeftak said angrily. No, Admiral O replied calmly. We choose independence. We don't want to conquer your worlds or rule your people. We want to be left alone to develop as we choose. The display changed again to show more detailed tactical information. Human ships surrounded key alien installations throughout the galaxy. We don't want your territory, Admiral O said. We don't want to destroy your civilization. We want your respect. We want to be treated as equals. He paused and looked directly at each counselor through the screen. And if we cannot have your respect, Admiral O concluded, then we will settle for your fear. The transmission ended, leaving the Galactic Council in stunned silence. 1 year had passed since the first alien ships arrived at Earth. Everything in the galaxy had changed. The great meeting hall that once belonged to the powerful Galactic Council now looked very different. The golden decorations were gone. The fancy chairs were replaced with simple ones. The room was no longer a place where aliens decided the fate of weaker species. Now it was a neutral meeting place where equals came to talk. Ambassador Minji Han sat at a plain wooden table, reading through thick documents. She was a woman in her 40s with kind eyes but a strong voice. Her black hair was pulled back neatly, and she wore a simple blue suit instead of a military uniform. In front of her were papers written in many different languages, human languages and alien languages. 2 across from her sat Zeftak, who used to be the High Counselor of the Galactic Council. He no longer wore his beautiful purple robes or his golden crown. Instead, he wore plain grey clothes like any ordinary citizen. His 3 eyes looked tired and sad. The powerful leader who once controlled hundreds of worlds was now just another negotiator trying to make peace. The terms are acceptable, Zeftak said quietly. His voice was much softer than it used to be when he gave orders to entire civilizations. Ambassador Han nodded politely. Equal representation in galactic affairs for all species. Mutual defense agreements with any species that wants to join. Us complete independence for Earth and any colonies we establish. In exchange, we will share our medical technology and our agricultural science with everyone. She turned a page in the treaty documents. Our doctors have developed new treatments for diseases that affect many alien species. Our farmers have learned to grow food in environments that were thought impossible before. And what about our people who were captured? Zeftak asked. The crews from our scout ships and military vessels. They will all be returned home safely, as we promised from the beginning, Ambassador Han replied. Earth does not believe in keeping prisoners forever or making people into slaves. That has never been our way. At the other end of the table sat Mordic, who used to be the military coordinator for the Galactic Council. He was a large alien covered in metal-like skin that had once been polished and shiny. Now it looked dull and worn. He no longer had a fancy military title. He was just Counselor Mordic now, representing his homeworld in these peace talks. I still don't understand, Mordic said, shaking his massive head. How did your species advance so quickly? Our fastest developing species took thousands of years to achieve what you accomplished in just a few months. Some species take tens of thousands of years to develop space travel. General Taeyong Seo, who represented Earth's military in these talks, leaned forward to answer. He was younger than Ambassador Han, with short black hair and alert eyes. His uniform was neat but not fancy. Humans didn't believe in showing off their rank with gold decorations. We advanced quickly because we had to, General Seo explained. When we realized the galaxy was full of species that saw us as prey, we couldn't afford to remain weak. We had to become strong, fast, or we would be destroyed or enslaved. But, how Mordic insisted, the learning process alone should take centuries. General Seo smiled. When humans are threatened, we do something that apparently most species don't do. We work together. Every nation on Earth, every company, every scientist, every engineer, everyone focused on the same goal. We shared all our knowledge. We combined all our resources. We worked day and night for months. Ambassador Han stood up from her chair and walked to the large window that showed the stars outside. In the distance, she could see human ships flying next to alien vessels. Former enemies were now working together to patrol the galaxy and keep peace. Humanity learned something long ago, Ambassador Han said, looking out at the stars. The most dangerous sound isn't a scream or a roar. The most dangerous sound is silence. When your prey goes quiet, that's when you should start worrying. The alien representatives looked at each other nervously. They remembered the 3 months when Earth had gone completely silent. They had thought the humans were dead or dying. They had been completely wrong. As the human delegation prepared to leave the meeting room, Zefdok turned to the other alien counselors who remained. "Make sure this is recorded in our historical archives," he said seriously. "Never mistake human silence for weakness." They weren't going extinct during those quiet months. They were evolving into something more dangerous than we ever imagined. Outside the meeting chamber, General SEO walked beside Ambassador Han through the corridors of the space station. Through the windows, they could see ships from dozens of different worlds working together. "Do you think they've really learned their lesson?" General SEO asked quietly. Ambassador Han looked out at the stars, where human ships now flew alongside former enemies who had become allies. Some alien species had chosen to work with Earth. Others kept their distance but no longer threatened. "Human worlds, they've learned that Earth's silence was never about surrender," she replied. "It was the sound of us getting ready for whatever came next. The galaxy would never be the same again."